Well, Carl, I appreciate the fact that you've been I started this during the pandemic. My dad saw the beginning, but
Oh,
unfortunately caught COVID and suddenly it's disappeared. So, yeah, he was here one minute, he was coughing, went to the hospital, and then never came back. While he
right.
was on visiting us. So, and I don't know if I've fully mourned and grieved, but I know that part of what I try and do with these stories is not just to talk about the actual music journey, but find elements of inspiration that others who watch can gravitate to and relate and stuff. So yeah, so that's why I appreciate your honesty. I actually hadn't planned to start off talking about the Black legacy and civil rights and things like that, but it felt like that's where it was starting, and it then helped us shape to where we are, and really full circle as you pointed out.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We should probably stop before I start, getting into some scandal.
No, 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 no,
I start
no.
Cat Williams. I might go on my Cat Williams.
No, no, no.
Start calling
But
out everybody from the '90s.
no, no. I guess just on ending that in a humorous way, I know that you know, um, um, I know the guys are still performing, but the two of the guys from Rift have joined in. Do you guys ever, after all these years, are there any relationships like okay, what's going on and stuff, or
We actually revisited. I think maybe like 2016. Excuse me. We actually revisited doing maybe like a reunion record, and I think Randy had a label situation. He reached out and said we wanted to do something like that. No, is the short answer. I I'm not a nostalgic guy in general, right? Part of the reason I don't perform with Shy is because I I barely like performing records once they're recorded, period. And this is when they're new. So for me, the idea of going out on the road to relive the past is just not. Um, you know what? I don't mean that to be disparaging because
No.
I think it's great to a certain extent, especially when it looks good. I think it's great to be able to sustain it, and for
Mm,
the people that that grew up listening to Shy during that era to be able to relive those experiences because that's part of it. Um, but I personally, I don't have any desire to be on the road that way, or definitely doing old material. I just kind of have
mm,
moved on, and again, and the juice for me has always been about making and creating.
yeah.
It's always been where my true passion lies. So it would be disingenuous for me to try to get out on the road and be in a situation that I don't really normally just enjoy. I'm just not wired that way.
Yeah. What
But
about Mark? Can you
glad.
talk to Mark?
Oh yeah, Mark and I talk quite a bit. Actually, we both have young children.
Mm,
Uh, yeah, Mark is he's probably the person I talk to the most. But yeah, we're constantly in touch actually.
and
And
how do you do your music being in the Bay Area? Well, not being in the South, where most of the stuff that happens seem to be in LA or New York and stuff. Do they come to you, or do you fly out to do the recording and stuff? Or
I fly out. I spend time LA, New York. I live in Austin, Texas, as you know.
okay, not
Did you know that?
okay. You're out of
Yeah.
Louisiana. No,
Yeah.
I actually thought you were still back in Louisiana.
Oh
Okay.
man, no, no, no. I live in I mean, most of my adult life was in LA and then moved to New York right before the pandemic. Spent
Oh.
some time, a few years in Stockholm. Um, but most of my adult life has been in LA and New York right before the pandemic, and then having young children right after the pandemic. My wife and I decided, New York might not be the place for young
Yes.
children.
Yeah.
And so we auditioned cities, and this was our favorite. I've always been a big fan of Austin, but it's such a promising economic environment and great culture, great food, and it's sort of in the center. My mom's still alive at 82
Mm,
and gets me
wow.
gets me closer. And Louisiana is a statement whose government is ass backwards, to be polite about it. I'm being nice, Louisiana. I need to get it together.
Yeah, goodness.
So this was as close to Louisiana. Houston and Dallas are great cities in Texas, and but they're almost too lit. Like they're just like they're so active. Austin's great. Austin is that mix, and it's and Texas is a very interesting environment. I never ever thought I would live in the state of Texas because I turns out that I completely misread it. It's not at all like I thought it was. But it's a very thriving environment, and this city is exciting. It's actually got a rich Black history that I didn't know about until I moved here. Austin is only. I've been to a lot of cities where there are a lot of Black people, but at this one, the airport's named after a Black woman. I mean,
wow.
The terminal was named, and you don't see that too often. And so it turns out Austin is a very forward thinking city, and my family we love it here. In terms of the business, I mean, the business pops here. South by Southwest is one of the largest conferences in the world. Now, what's interesting and what's a fascinating sort of development for me here, potentially, is that the live music business is massive here, but the recorded music business is not that big here. BMI has sort of relatively recently opened a creative office in Austin. It's the only one in this region. So, there's a lot of opportunity to grow the business in a way. And yeah, I'm looking at something like what's been done in all the different markets, just like LA and Face were able to go to Atlanta and start something. And this is an environment that has a lot of talent, and now we're looking at a different thing, because again, like, I'm not sure that people sort of recognize what AI really is, and if you could see some of the tools and what's like, I don't know if you're familiar with some of the apps, like some like Suno and Udi, and some of the things that are happening. I'm going to send you some of the samples of some of that music. Like, it's
okay.
Like, in a couple of years, we're going to have to really, really, if not less, redefine what it means to make music.
Wow.
And and the role of the artist. This is music. We if we thought that the streaming and downloads were a disruption, this is a much, much bigger disruption of the music business.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that category.
And somewhere in between
us, or even loving us, on which I did miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No, okay, you're okay.
They don't understand what Jonas' voice meant all spirit.
Play it.
And all these guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.